What's up guys, James here, and welcome back to another video on the channel. A while back, I started a mini-series on here where I looked over Roblox's modern starter place and some of its template maps and explained the canopsic feelings many players experience from playing on them alone. Originally, I took a look at the starter place that was introduced in 2016, as well as the suburban and western map templates. Since then, both of those videos have received surges of popularity, and many have requested that I take a look at other Roblox templates as well. Today, I'll be looking at the rest of Roblox's modern templates which I believe the same feelings of liminality and creepiness can be applied to. At the end of this video, I'll explain exactly why that appears to be the case and why I believe many players report these feelings in the first place. Starting off, we have City, a now defunct template which has recently been replaced with its successor, Modern City. City, as a template map, is just odd to say the least. Its aesthetic does not fit in with modern Roblox at all, and I can easily see why it was replaced. The map itself is heavily unfinished, and I believe the intention there was for players to take the little they were given and to add and transform it into a city of their own. However, this leaves the map almost like a husk of an actual Roblox game. It looks like something I might see in a Roblox knockoff. There isn't much to see in City, but looking around for a while, this does give it a little bit of an eeriness factor. Like Suburban, a car is left out in the street with no driver, making you wonder why it was abandoned, seemingly mid-drive. City's car is so parallel to the street that it's as if it was manufactured there or propped up to imitate what an actual car on a road looks like. The buildings in City are also very odd. They are empty and devoid of any furniture. It makes you wonder why entire skyscrapers were built only to be left abandoned and unfurnished. A city is supposed to be a lively environment where people live out their lives and go about their business, yet in this city, there is not a single soul to be found, despite every single light being on in each of the buildings. The buildings are strange, floors of unfurnished metal framing with staircases that lead to even more empty floors. At the floor level, open doorways with a top step look like they should lead to basements, but these basements are sealed off with no way in. The city sits upon a very thick base plate, so maybe there are some rooms down there, hidden away from our eyes. Even though it's such an open map with towering buildings, these buildings are strangely compact for their size. You might even feel a slight sense of claustrophobia when exploring them because of how little room there is to walk around and with how short the ceilings are. With their fluorescent yellow lights, beige walls, and stained carpets, it's like exploring a Roblox backrooms level. The staircases of these finally open out into bare-bones rooftops with zero detailing. If you walk around on these roofs, you'll see your shadow moving around at ground level. This gave me a brief shock when I first caught it out of the corner of my eye, thinking for a second that maybe there was someone else down there. Who knows? There still could be. The road system of the city also makes no sense. There's dead-end streets that lead nowhere, and a large roundabout-like road that just brings you right back to where you started. Maybe there's just no intention for you to escape the city. Maybe this is your home, from now on and forever. Along with City, Pirate Island is probably the second most requested Roblox template that I include in a video. In my opinion, Pirate Island might be the creepiest out of any modern Roblox starter place. Side note, the new textures and lighting that got added in recently genuinely looks dog shit on these old maps, but from a horror perspective, actually makes them appear a bit more sterile. From a newer retrospective, Pirate Island is weird. You start off on the dock of the namesake island, being the sole crew member of a large pirate ship. All I wonder is why I'm currently the only crew member left, and what happened to everyone else. Not knowing almost makes it seem your player has amnesia or something, and now you're just stranded on this island. The pirate ship no longer works in modern Roblox, leaning even more into the idea that you are stranded here. The stark shadows and lighting on these islands make them appear harsh and uninviting. You don't know what could be hiding under the thick canopies of these trees. There are strange structures near the beach devoid of any furniture except for bare carpet thrown right on the ground. Just as your ship's crew is nowhere to be seen, so are the builders or inhabitants of these weird structures. Right off the bat, a pathway guides you straight into a dark cave. Well, it's actually just a den that cuts off right when you enter it. Walking up the mountainside, a purposeless treasure chest sits on its own. At first I thought maybe this map is like the first starter place where there's items strewn around to collect, but this treasure chest is locked, making its insides inaccessible. You can't help but wonder what's actually in there. Is this treasure chest related to the disappearance of your crew? It seems unlikely at first, but when I think of pirates, I think of curses, skeletons, phantom islands, and lost treasure. Finally, at the island's summit is the mouth of a volcano. It is actually kind of goofy when you see how a fire effect just emits straight out of the ground at the volcano. Looking out at sea, we can see that there are 4 other islands to explore. The closest of these is small in width, but has very tall spires with elevations as high as the volcano. Amidst ruins on this island is an open treasure chest with gold flowing out of it. This island has an outlook with 9 cannons on it, presumably to protect this gold. For who and why does this gold need to be heavily protected? Maybe we'll never know, as I still can't find one pirate. Because the pirate ship doesn't work, you need to swim over to these islands, but I suggest you don't look under the water, especially if you have thalassophobia. The oceans of this map are empty and devoid of any life or detailing. Not even fish call these seas home. The water is a hue of dark cayenne and becomes impossible to see through past a certain radius. The next island I visited is the smallest out of the bunch. This island is your stereotypical deserted island from any tropical media. This is the type of island where you know you're stranded on it. There is no sign of human activity here aside from another lonely treasure chest. I think I'm picking up on a pattern here. Islands 4 and 5 on this map are similarly shaped and encircle a large lagoon with a small strait separating them. The more elevated island is pretty heavily forested and rocky, but is devoid of much other details aside from another locked treasure chest and another den that's dug into the hillside. The longer, final island is very flat and brings out the unfinished, empty feeling that accompanies this map. There are little pockets of vegetation on it, but its most notable feature is a weird pillar of stone that juts out of its center. It seems to be aligned right with the entrance of the lagoon. Whether this pillar is supposed to be artificial or man-made, I don't know, but I think there's a chance it could be the former. Despite being a pirate map, these islands are lifeless and devoid of any seafarers that might have once explored them. Maybe these pirates just sailed off to other lands, or maybe something more sinister happened to them. Coming in as the third map in today's video, we have Village, another requested template that I thought I'd mention. Village gives me a lot of the same odd liminal vibes that I got from playing the Western template. While maybe not to the same extent due to its smaller size as a template map, it's still a bit weird. It's got the typical layout of a small hamlet surrounded by an open world environment. However, it's more like the illusion of an open world map, as it's devoid of practically any personality or detailing aside from surface level features like copy-paste trees. It almost reminds me of a fake world in line with the Truman Show or something like that. It's like the illusion of a natural world. What sets Village apart from the other maps I've talked about so far is that there are NPCs on this map, probably the villagers of the village. When you look at liminal spaces and other similar canopsic photos, one of their defining features is that they are devoid of any human life. However, I'd argue that the NPCs of Village actually add to its creepiness. It's the fact that the template maps are so quiet, and yet there's actually people here for a change. Yet these villagers are lifeless and may as well not be here at all. They don't talk, they don't move, they only have speech bubbles above their head with directions for the players. The villagers are more like lifeless mannequins than true NPCs. The buildings of the village are also just weird and don't help the map's case at all. They're dimly lit and the lighting fills up the rooms from strange angles. The buildings are purposeless and give a feeling of being disconnected from the rest of the map. Just look at some of the smaller ones on the other side of the river. When you enter them, they're a bit claustrophobic and so dark that it feels like it's nighttime when it isn't. There isn't much else to say about Village because the map is just that bare bones. It does feel severely undercompleted, but I suppose it's because the player is supposed to complete it themselves. This does give it a unique feeling within the context of these videos. Despite the NPCs, you do start to feel like you're really alone. And soon after that, like you may not be. I was going to talk about the map Castle as well, but a lot of it is extremely similar to Village, and I feel like I already discussed a good amount of maps in this video. I actually am a big fan of Castle as a template map. It's got a lot of aesthetically pleasing features to it, like all of the rooms in the castle itself. I personally don't think Castle carries over as much of a strange feeling as the other templates do, although a lot of people actually disagree with me on that, thinking Castle is one of the creepiest. All of this does beg the question, why do people feel this way about Roblox's template maps? Well, there's the immediate question of why a map might exist on your account despite you having never made it, but reading over the signs in the starter place quickly eases any questions regarding its purpose. Honestly, I think the strange feelings some players associate with Roblox's starter maps stem from the feelings many people experience when playing single-player games in general. Roblox games are usually seen in a state of heavy player use. What do you think of when you think of Roblox? You think of odors, little kids, trollers, hackers. You think of gaming, you think of playing with others, you think of real people playing the game with you. But a template map, especially your own template map, will probably never be played on by anybody except yourself, and definitely not at the same time as you. This is what gives them a feeling of isolation. There are players on the platform socializing in thousands of different games at the exact same time, while you're walking around in a barren map that's only ever been touched by you. At the same time, like I've explained, these maps are clearly designed to be played on and used by players, yet there's a strange lingering eeriness to them because they aren't. This same logic can be applied to really any Roblox game when nobody's on it. Hop on a VIP server for any popular Roblox game, and the feeling will actually be way more amplified because those are maps you definitely expect people to be on. There's also a bit of an uncanniness factor to it. Roblox maps on their own remind me of the maps of Source Engine games, a comparison that I've made before. Roblox tries to be realistic, but it really isn't, which can result in some uncanniness sometimes. And when you combine that with the isolation factor and the expectation that someone should be in the game with you, I can see how some people might get a bit creeped out after a while. Despite being the creator of these videos, I actually haven't ever felt creeped out on any starter place, but I can see how some younger players might be. Just like how back in the day we were afraid that Herobrine would jump out at us in our Minecraft single player worlds. At this point, I've now talked about 7 of Roblox's starter places in this video style, so I probably won't make another one talking about how any more of them are creepy. If you want to make up your mind on the matter, I recommend playing some of the starter places yourself and seeing how you feel. If you get creeped out, cool. If you don't, that's also cool. Thank you everybody for the support here. I appreciate all of it. I have some great videos planned for the future of this channel, and I'll see you on the next one.